Hello YouTube, today I'm going to be teaching you how to create a random number generator in Python.
Check this.
I'm going to call this a beginner course because, well, a beginner program because they are quite simple skills that you need, and it's going to be an advanced number generator in the sense that you'll be able to pick a range of numbers to generate from by an input, so you won't have to specify it in the code. So I hope you enjoy it, and let's get into it. So to do this without just copying the tutorial and to know what's going on, you may need some previous knowledge on Python on inputs, variables and outputs. You can find simple tutorials by just googling the free topics. But so we're going to start with importing, and I like to keep my code organized, so we're going to drop a hashtag and put imports. The hashtag simply means a note, so you're writing a note essentially by dropping that hashtag, so that imports won't have any effect on the code. You can also use this, let's say you didn't want this to print at the moment, you wanted to exclude that from the code, you could just drop a hashtag in front of that, and yeah. But essentially what we need to import is random, and from random import randint. Randint stands for random integer, and an integer is just a number. So we've got our imports, so now let's put in our inputs. So let's call this question, shall we? So for Q for question, we'll put equals input. As we know, input is what will create a sort of text box, not text box, for users to input their answer to the question you ask them using Python. So we'll say Q equals input. What would you like the minimum number to be? Then Q1 will put, then Q2 sorry will put equals input. What would you like the maximum number to be? And we leave a space after the question mark just to make it look nice. And so if you run that now, I'll drag this to the side instead then. You answer the question 1, 2. It doesn't do anything because you haven't told it to do anything. So now I'm going to purposely make this not work just so I can show you how to fix it. But we're going to just call that randomizer. So we'll say A equals randint Q2, and then we'll say print your random number is, drop a comma to obviously leave a space after the word is, then we'll say A because that's what the variable is called that generates our random number. Now I know this won't work, but I'm going to tell you why it's not working. So we say 1, 5. As you can see, it must be a string, not an int. It must be an integer. So the reason for this is if we look at these two lines, we're asking for their input, and what they input is being inputted to us as a string. Now, the way to get around this is to put int and then put a bracket before input, then obviously put a second bracket here just to close off the input again, and then we do the same with this one, int, and then put a second bracket here. Now what this will do is when the user inputs their number, that will automatically convert it from a string to an integer. Another way of doing this, which is sort of longer, would then be to write, okay, so we'll take these out, would be to write q equals int q, and sorry, q2 equals int q2. Now, in my opinion, that is a long method, but for some reason some people prefer that, probably just for the way it looks and just for structure of code. But I always think it's better just to drop the int here and the int there. Both will work, it's just a matter of preference. So now when we run this, we'll put a 1 and a 10, and your random number is 1. Okay, so let's run that again. Put a 1 and a 10, random number is 7. But we want it to keep asking us a question, so we can just keep giving it random numbers, right? So that means we're going to need to put it into a loop. Now, for a loop, we need, well, we don't need a variable, but I like to have a variable in case you'd like to close the loop. So we say variable equals true. Then what you do, while variable, now you could just leave it as while variable, but just because it's a beginner's course, I'm going to type the whole string, I want to say string, I don't know, out for you. So while variable equals true, remember double equals, then we've got to indent everything down here. So what this is saying is, while variable, which is this variable here, equals true, which it does, just keep repeating everything down here. So if I run this now, we'll say 1 and 10 again. Okay, and now it's asked us again. So 1 and 10, 7, 1 and 10, 2, 1 and 1, whatever number that is. Okay, but now if I'm being really picky, then we could make a quit function, but I'll leave that for a different video because for now we've got it. However, what if we want it to, just so it flows nicely and looks nicely, wait like a second before it prints a number and then goes back to the loop? What if we want it to drop a line? This part of the video isn't necessary. You can go off and change the layout of this any way you want, but this is just the way I like to lay out my programs. So if you wish to continue watching, which would be appreciated, or if you could drop a like, that would be nice too, and subscribe on my new channel. But just for the way it looks, I'd like to be able to make things like, I'd like it to print my random number, let's say a second after I've put in the minimum and maximum number, and that is easy to do. And I also want it to leave a space after it's told me my random number, just so it looks nicer. So to drop the space, simply all we're going to do is print and then put the speech marks in the print and nothing else. And all that will do is just drop a line under where it says your random number is, and then your variable. So we've said, what would you like the maximum number to be? What would you like the minimum? What would you like the maximum number to be? And so if we run this now, let's say 5 and 10, it drops the line, as you see. 10 and 100, it drops the line. But the way it tells me my random number, I'd like it to wait, let's say a second before it tells me. So we're going to import something called time. And this is just to make everything flow a lot smoother and be easier on the eye. And we're also going to have a line before it prints a random number, just to make it look nicer. Maybe let's leave 2 lines then after it's told us. So we've got our line sorted. We've imported time. What do we do with time? Underneath where it says Q2, we're going to put time.sleep 1. This is a function that is not included in the base of Python, but if we just import time, it's a simple command added, and it's also it represents a command like in Lua, where you say wait 1 and it will wait a second. It's essentially just that, and it is this process, this time.sleep, this wait process is influential in most codes just for the efficiency and just for the ease of the eye, to make it look nicer. essentially. So now we're also going to drop a time.sleep one here. So now if we run this, let's say 10, 100, it will wait 1 second, tell me a random number, wait another second, ask me again. For 40, wait 1 second, tell me, wait 1 second, ask me again. So as you can see now, that's a lot easier on the eye in my opinion, and that just runs smoothly. It's like a nice program. And it's that simple. So I hope you found this tutorial enjoyable, sort of interesting maybe. That's a push, I know. It's my first proper tutorial, it's my first video on this channel, so any feedback in the comments would be nice. I know it was sort of rushed, so if it was too much for you and you'd like a simpler version, let me know in the comments, and I'm more than happy to remake this video for you in a simpler format, and tell me what other things you'd like me to teach you how to make on Python. But yeah, thank you for watching, hope you have a nice day, and goodbye.